I don't think anything is more embarrassing and frustrating than having to call off a wedding. Like I can't imagine proposing to a woman and she calls off the wedding. Like that must I must have fucked up somehow, right? So let's see what they have to say. By the way, people, don't forget we're having 50% off all of our courses using the coupon code BLACK and 20% off working with me one-on-one using the coupon code BLACK. Let's begin this.
I was in a 10-year relationship. I was engaged for the last 2 years of it. And 2 weeks prior to the wedding, we broke everything off. It wasn't that I realized in those 2 weeks that we weren't compatible, including lifestyle plus other issues. It was that it was a long time coming. And it took me a really long time to choose myself until I chose myself. I kept thinking and convincing myself that
He's
things
a
would get
baddie.
better, that as time went on, he would change.
This just shows you, man, like, I don't care how hot you are. Your looks cannot change us. Because she's a baddie. She a baddie, man. She's a baddie. So, like, don't think just because you're hot, this shit don't happen. It's all about strategy. It's really all about, to have a happy relationship is not about your looks. It's about strategy. Not to get the best looking guy. It is about your looks. But to get a happy relationship, it's all about this.
And that's the thing that I learned, that people don't change for other people, they change for themselves. And I was dating him and being with him for his potential and what he could be, instead of just seeing who he was and who he was.
Now, that's the thing, is that women, when they talk about a man, they talk about the future, you know? But when a man talks about a woman, they talk about the now. You know, oh, he's gonna be a great father, and man, she is beautiful, she's amazing, she's the way she treats me. Like, it's usually present moment things. I forgot where I learned that
Showing
from.
me right then and there. To give you guys a little background, we were college sweethearts, so we were growing together. And then it wasn't until we graduated college that we started living together that I saw more of who he was, that we started growing apart. And that's when
And that's not your fault.
Started coming
That's very
up.
normal.
And what I can say is that when you don't have peace of mind, that's how you know that it's your time to leave. And I ignored my intuition for a really long time until I didn't.
Hey loves, it's Melanie. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sharing stories of women
Where is Melanie living at right now? Where she live?
who broke off their engagements. So it's actually a dream for many of us women to get engaged to the man that we love, and it's a terrible thought to have to think about breaking off that engagement for any reason whatsoever. But you'll see from the stories today that sometimes it's actually a necessity. If you've broken off an engagement before, let us know in the comment section below why you did it and if you regret doing so.
Get that tea.
I've said no to 2 proposals.
Broke off my engagement. Let's read this.
Regret it.
Let's read this. Hey, broke off my engagement because that motherfucker cheated before we went down the aisle. My God, it's just some guys want everything. I got a lot of people say, "Wow, Father Alex, why are you single? What's wrong with you?" Okay, where should we start? Okay, maybe I'm single because I know myself. All right, how about that? Maybe that's a badge of honor to not put a woman through your own bullshit, right? So it's kind of like, if these guys would just be honest with themselves and admit the type of person that they are, maybe they wouldn't be putting these women through this. But also, these women, y'all gotta stop acting like you got some magic pum pum, like fucking on the other side of the rainbow. You can't change a guy with your pum pum. You just can't. Crazy part is that he actually thought I was going to stay, canceled everything. Well, imagine, why do you think he thought you were going to stay? You must have given him the impression, boo-boo. That guys don't just take advantage of you for no reason. You give off signs. More good women has been lost to marriage than war, Jesus Christ. Did she say that? Yo, this woman is wild. Broke off one engagement 6 years ago because his family was controlling and he wouldn't listen to me. He said I didn't want kids. Most likely he was religious, from the Middle East. Better to break it off. Never settle. The young man gives me hope. Yeah, that's crazy.
Do not regret it because I trust myself. I trust myself because I believe what I feel. And I believe what I feel because I've practiced this numerous times. So when I have a feeling and I know it's a yes, it's an immediate yes. However, if it's not an immediate yes, it's a no. And also often that's what you are not trusting. You're not trusting yourself. So even though it's not an immediate yes, you'll tell yourself, maybe I'll change the way I feel. Maybe this isn't right. Maybe I should say yes. No. I look back, and if I said yes to those proposals, I would definitely be divorced, but It was the truest way of me.
Sometimes you just do it because you want to get it over with or because you want to fit in to everyone having a relationship. I can see that, like, you'll say, let's hope. But God, you're playing with fire, man. Like people change when you get more committed to them. Like people's dark side comes out when they know you can't escape. Like so, it's kind of like
Me trusting myself. And it wasn't the lack of me caring for or liking or loving the person. I do and still do. But it was the love I had for myself. There is a love that I have for the trusting in my timing, in my journey, in my intuition, that thing. And I challenge you to start to trust that thing. A lot of times when we don't trust ourselves, it's just because we haven't learned that.
ladies and gentlemen, something happened. We've been hacked, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're back. I guess it's period of inactivity causes that. All right, let's see.
We know that feeling that's saying yes, go with it. The feeling that's saying no, this isn't right. It's not for you to try to maneuver. Is this right? Why isn't this right? I should be thinking this is right. No. If it's not an immediate yes, it's an immediate no.
Yep.
And learn it. Here's how you learn it. You go off of the first thing you're feeling, and that's it. You don't have to sit with things that long. You know immediately if it's an immediate no or an immediate yes. Secondly, leave it. Once you make that decision, of course, it may come up again, but you don't have to beat yourself up. You don't have to say, oh, if I would have done it this way, this would have happened. There's trillions of ways that it could have happened, but you made your decision. Trust it and go forward. And lastly, the more decisions that you make that you trust, the higher your confidence builds for the decisions you make. That's it. So yes, I am so happy I said no to both of those proposals, and really I was saying yes to myself.
Yep.
So say
take it
yes
as a compliment.
to yourself.
Never ever settle. So I was engaged to another person before I met my husband, and I was around 28, and of course I thought I was going to turn into an ogre if I didn't get married before I was 30. And for some reason I just knew that this was not the person that I was supposed to be with. I knew that I was supposed to be with somebody else. And so I was on the phone with my mom one day. She was about to write me a check for $15,000 to put a deposit down on the venue, and I called her and I was like, look, I don't want to get married. Like, I just
these weddings are wildly expensive. Fuck that. I remember when I was younger, I wanted to get married with this girl Evelyn, but she ended up banging my bassist friend. I was in a band, and anyways, when I say banging, I mean married. And I was planning a wedding, right? I was like, if I get with her, I want to marry her. And I remember I was preparing to spend around 15,000 on the wedding. The fuck? People, like society has a way of manipulating you in ways that you just cannot imagine.
I don't want to get married. And looking back on it, I definitely didn't want to marry this person. I didn't feel motivated. I didn't feel supported. I felt like I would have to financially support us or do 50-50 for the rest of my life. And I didn't feel like I could go to this person and be like, hey, I want to try something new, or I don't want.
Listen, a man who can't make money, I'm sorry. Like, you got to judge him. I'm sorry. You just have to. It's a reflection of his intelligence. It's for real, for real. Like, it's a reflection of work ethic. You could be, even work ethic, you could be dumb and make money as long as you have work ethic. Like, if you're broke, always have a lot of debt, you use a lot of drugs, that's a reflection of your character. And honestly, you can call me that too. I'm not in debt, but like, it could be, I'm kind of like that too.
I want to pay bills right now, or give me $1,000. Like, I didn't feel like I could go to that person and say these things. And so I broke off the engagement. I was single for a little while, and then I met my husband. And now my husband, like, I can call him right now and be like, hey, like, I want to become a flight attendant. And he'd be like, yes, drop everything. Let's do it. Or I want to be like a karate instructor. Or
what are you now? What are you now? Oh Lord, she might be a Shira 7
I want to
fan.
get my PhD, and my husband was like, yes, I'm motivated. Let's go to the gym. Let's go running. Let's do all this stuff. Like, my husband's very motivating for me. Like,
It's
he
good.
knows how to push me. He knows me. And I just didn't feel that with anybody else. And I'm so glad that I waited until I was 34 to actually get married, because it just felt right. Like, it felt like the right thing, and it still does. So never
Don't let time rush you. Don't let time rush you.
settle, because I'm telling you, right around the corner is the exact person that you're supposed to be with, the person that will motivate you for the rest of your life to be the best version of yourself. So good luck.
I called off my engagement after 6.5 years together because I came to realize that I did not want to spend the rest of my life cooking, cleaning, grocery shopping, and doing laundry for a man when I worked full time as well. And that was the expectation for me, to take on all of the domestic labor just because I was the woman. That was one of the main motivators for me. I knew that that could not be it, that there had to be more to life, and that I needed for me to find a partner who would be a partner and not just a husband. Now, I have had a bunch of women reach out to me in my messages with similar stories, saying that they also called off their engagement. And for me, that was one of the main motivations for me to write my book, Anxious to Wed. I don't think there's enough stories about women walking away from relationships that do not serve them. I think a lot of times women settle for the sake of settling down, and there needs to be more stories, more women's voices, more women standing up.
That's very true, because women are imitative creatures. If they see everyone doing something, they'll do it, even if it doesn't benefit them, right? They're social creatures. So if they see other women from men that are not worthy of their time, women will learn that pretty quickly, more than a man will, right? Because women are really good at imitating behavior.
And saying, we're not going to accept the bare minimum anymore.
One of the common themes in all of these stories is that the women discover, or finally discover, or come to terms with the fact that they are not actually compatible with their partner. I think it's important for us women to be in tune with ourselves and to trust our intuition. If you feel like you're not compatible with someone, you don't have to feel pressured to go through with that marriage. You're not going to be happy. That person is ultimately not going to be happy either. And it's not fair to anyone involved. Just because you get engaged does not mean you have to actually go through with the marriage. Forget about what your friends or family would say, because they're not the ones getting married to this person. What do you feel? What do you want? What does your intuition say?
So a year ago today, I got engaged, and 7 months ago, I broke off the engagement. And here's a couple things that I learned. Number one, being single is not as scary as I thought. I truly wish I could go back to me of 8 months ago and sit down and be like, I know that this is really hard. I know that this is really
What type of horror story does she think being single is? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, how bad do you think it is? It's not that bad.
scary. I know you're afraid of being alone and living alone, but you're thriving. Number two, being lonely by yourself is so much better than being lonely in a relationship because you're just not with the right person. Number three, you don't regret the time that you spent with this person because you truly did have good moments and you truly did learn about what you do want in a partner, but you also learned how you will not be treated and you learned the things that you will not stand for.
A lot of people don't like find when if it doesn't lead to marriage, it was a waste of time. But it's like, no, like sometimes you had a great time with them. Don't lie. It was a great time. Yeah, it didn't lead to marriage, but you enjoyed yourself. And that's what matters. You know, like what matters is enjoying yourselves.
Number four, time keeps moving. You move on. You're doing fine.
Girl, listen, I broke off my engagement because of kids. And what I mean is that he wanted kids and I really didn't. If you're wondering how we even got engaged, since we had completely different opinions about wanting kids in our lives, it's because he and I were together since we were in high school. We were high school sweethearts, then became college sweethearts, and then after college we moved in together. The thing is that I didn't know that I didn't want kids until we moved in together. You see, growing up in a Latino household, kids was an expectation. Like, there was no choice. It never even crossed my mind that there was ever a choice to not be a mom. Never. Like, I never thought about it. I never considered it.
Fucking, what type of brainwashing? Like, what type of adobo were you guys eating? Like, Jesus Christ, stop exaggerating, my love. Like, I've been in Latino households, but you're way too far.
A choice. It was always like, that's what you do. That's what you're expected to do. That is the next
No te va a casar, mi hija. Mira, mamá. Cállate la boca, mamá.
step in life. After you guys move in, get married, you have kids, you know, the whole shebang. So I always thought I was going to be a mom. I thought about what I would pack my kids for lunch. Like, that's how deep in I was. But in college, when I realized that it was an option, I started to think about it more and more. And as the years went by, I really started to fear, honestly, that I didn't want to be a mom. And when I told him about it, he was not okay with it. He always wanted a family. Always. He wanted to basically recreate his childhood and give his kids the things that he never got. And I
Wait, why? What you gotta say it like that? This channel is weird, man. This channel is weird.
get it. You know, I always had that mentality too, because we both had grown up in poverty. So we wanted to give our kids what our parents couldn't give us. But when I realized I didn't want kids, that was it for me. I didn't even want to try because I knew what I felt in my heart.
I definitely think the question of whether or not to have kids is a big discussion to have before.
All right, so we'll finish her video later tomorrow. Hey, come back. We'll finish. It's easy there, audience. Already closing your eyes. We'll finish this video later tomorrow, but it's kind of fun. I like her channel. I like reacting to her videos because she puts it in a way that we can react to it, and people check out her channel. I don't want to just use her content without giving her credit, so because I could tell she'll get pissed off at me. I could tell, like, I know the people who I could piss off. I'm gonna piss her off if she notices I'm reacting to her without giving her credit. So, sister, life with Melanie, good shit. By the way, you got some interesting backgrounds. She's in a hotel right now. I gotta get more information about her.